We can talk to the Auditor General na Audit Service Salon when Lara tell Pearce. For can tell we waiting on the happen at the offices being especially so. We don't go in a Parliament the 2019 audit report for Salon. Well, Audit Service Salon are the supreme audit institution at the country where they work for ensure so them promote accountability and good governance. And the Auditor General get the mandates for carry out audit na the economy for ensure say efficiency and effectiveness they with people and where they work with government money, especially government ministry departments and agencies them. And as section 119 of the 1991 Constitution of Salon give the part to the Auditor General na audit service salon for ensure say they audit all public accounts na the country, including the courts them, the central bank, local government, the central and local government administration, the university, and all public institutions them. Well, at the studio this morning, we tell us we get Madam Lara Pearce, we na the Auditor General and Audit Service Salon. A day for cancel we button. Well, good morning again and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Good morning, Megan.
Well, before we can go into the 2019 report, we don't go in our parliament and the most talked about money them way people able for accounts for the year 2019. Let me just go back to your workforce because you be done there as Deputy Auditor General at the country from 2007 to 2011, and November 2011 now you take up as Auditor General at the Audit Service Salon. Just take me from there to now, how the work done like.
Thank you very much. Very interesting journey. Me done day actually in the field of auditing since I began my career in 1991. I began private sector at KPMG. I spent almost 10 years there. Then go into public sector in 2000. Accountant General's office, some World Bank projects. Then before I came inside Audit Service Sierra Leone. And it has been a very interesting journey because me and one person, we're very passionate about accountability issues. So I found myself in that field there and I really enjoy what I do. As a deputy, my role really now been on corporate matters, quality assurance, training, corporate for the office. But because of the auditing background, I needed that one day for do the quality assurance. So when I get the appointment in November 2011, I look at them as a great opportunity for support Sierra Leone in the area of accountability, transparency, in the use of public funds. So over the years, for the last 9 years, we don't make sure we don't improve in how we do we work. If over the last 9 years, we don't make sure the staff are well capacitated for do their work. In fact, I guess staff the way go check other supreme audit institution, the quality assurance inside the office. We don't make sure we get the best people that we interested for do the work on board. However, a few challenges that we are noticed, we really need for look at going forward because the audit business now a revolving business. Now one way you need for train you people, you need for get the best people on board, and that one they mean money. As it is now, we do get money. However, within exactly we need for do the work, something in that can be a challenge. We don't work now for all people into account because their money they are not to individual people their money them. Their money they are now we already pay tax, we money them. And we get for make sure somebody check that I make you get the independent external audit function when that we do for check the money are they use they out there for use them and we report to Parliament. We also did notice some of the recommendation they will give. It's ganga for me people and implement the recommendation.
We can look at the work more, but let's take you back to you as an individual because this is another parts of the world who say offend with self now society who say like most men they know they see women they equal to waiting them feel say then they do for let woman they able for do and you know one kind of that woman the way they go in a unique position it all for a very long time and throughout the year them we don't they pull reports them of course within the media we don't they follow issues them we don't they come up for let's such a woman able for continue for get such integrity and they continue for pull reports despite all the challenges them way you don't they get now also you they drive the motivation from for say you must continue for do the work way you did do.
Okay, so the field of myself, the accounting field, we auditing, we can get auditors out of that. I work with man them bokutem. So as far as me can see, I can see them as fellow human being and not as man them. I look and say we all are equals. And honestly, I know they get disrespect for my colleagues them. I they enjoy a lot of respect. But one thing we all get from member, if you're not a leader in any organization, if you know say you want to stand the test of time, if you know say you want to make people work with you, the way they treat you, staff them, they make it and they happen. And I believe say now that they make year in year out, even with all the challenges them, we still able for do we work because I treat the staff them the right way, with fairness, correctly, for make them do their work.
Okay, away from you personal now, let we look at the Auditor General's work in a salon or the audit service them work. Every year, they pull reports about the accountability aspect in different offices them. And looking at the report them they pull every year, somebody go like for no, within the strength of workforce for put these reports together.
Okay, so at the moment, the total workforce, including the administrative staff, now 186. Out of the 186, about 129 are the technical, the audit staff them. That number they not do. Now that makes so we can give some of the audits them for make private firm they do on our behalf. The number not do. We need at least 200 people them well remunerated, above board for make we able for do all thing every year. So that's a challenge, but we manage for do what we able for do every year.
So with that challenge day and the small staff them we get for ensure so na manage for do it na suppose for the do every year. Let we come to the reports them. What's the methodology we audit service salon they use for get all the information then we can need for put together for present to Parliament as the audited reports for the year.
Okay, so make us start from the very beginning. So every year, by November, we get what we call an operational planning meeting. We get we overall strategic plan. We get various pillars there. We'll get for make sure see we meet them pillars in there. So when we get our operational planning meeting there around November, each division within the organization, they come up with all the audits we able for do based on the resources that we available for do. We only sit down at a meeting, 2 or 3 days meeting, we agree. Say this year, next year, now this we do, now this we do, now this we do. In public sector auditing, waiting we look for. We look for make sure say the internal control them, that the decision they work. We look for make sure say the systems and processes then they work. We look for make sure say every money we government institution they use is being done taking the issue of value for money into consideration. That means to say you not just to go waste money, you do use money judiciously and for something we get value. And the methodology, the approach, what do you use for the work? There are 3 approaches that we get. We get what we call the financial audit, where we look at the financial statements them of their institution, the way they produce financial statements them, for make sure say they follow accounting standards them. And usai variation in day, we make a comment on them and day. Now that one in day we get what we call an audit opinion on. Then we do what we call compliance audit, where it kind of unique to public sector. Compliance audit now the compliance of the institution with the laws them and regulations them in place. And of course, we get what we call performance audit, where we make sure say we check how effectively, efficiently, and economically public sector institution they don't use government money for the projects them, the programs them, and waiting the need for deliver for the people of Sierra Leone.
So we then methodology then the way you explain, but so the 3 different stages the way so now they go through before the report sinking come out. For 2019 under review where we can look at how you go describe that report say we don't pull. So taking into consideration the financial audit, compliance audit, and performance audit we wanna go through.
Okay, so if we now look at the report, is divided into several parts. The first part now the financial audit part where we get an opinion. And we now notice say we get an unqualified opinion. That means to say what we see no significant enough for make we doubt within the financial statements. Yes, there are issues them way big, but they're not material enough because we get what we call the materiality levels. What they look at, we compare that day with the particular matter. If, for example, if you see this calculator here, the calculator na 100 million, the issue where you check them against na 1 million leon, you go say it is not significant. It's not a material situation. So now that kind of way they would look, we'll end up forgetting an unqualified audit opinion. However, significant issues that what we need for still remind the preparers of the financial statement for looking to, we get what we call emphasis of matter. That means to say they're big, but they're not big enough for affect the opinion, but they're big enough for me to bring them to the attention of the parties they're concerned for do something about it going forward. Then for the compliance audit, we will do now most of the ministry, department, and agency them. We check how they use the government money as against the law them. For example, how they use government money as against procurement law, how they use government money as against their union law them, where the government sets it up for operate, how they use the money then the area of performance audit, we look at how a few programs them, how the money they we government give, how they use them properly for benefits.
Let we look at the financial. Let's start with the financial among the 3 categories we want to look at, because this now one we don't draw plenty attention. Take me through the amounts of discrepancies in una findings as expected we una meet na MDs them.
Most of the area we'll talk about cash losses really now on the compliance side, not on the financial statement side. If you look at financial statement, it's divided into revenue and expenditure. If you now look, I'm fine. Divided into revenue and expenditure. 2 of the main area them we've been get for do with the revenue them. Una see say in one situation, action is already been taken on it. In another situation, because we look at the law we govern that particular matter, we realize say there was an error in the law. We realize say a response was given by the institution where they manage that situation and we realize it is going to be sorted out. However, given our own professional judgment, we give recommendation, even on that one day. But because of the unclear situation around that particular matter, there was no way we could say a matter we could affect the opinion. We go negatively affect the opinion. So on the financial statement side of things, in our own professional judgment, taken into fact that we bring some of the issue as emphasis of matter because they're not significant enough. We have proof and evidence that they are going to be dealt with. That matter, the financial statement opinion was a clear one.
Okay, continue for the with we inside the program. Lara Pearce, Auditor General na Audit Service Salon. The program is still listening to na Good Morning Salon, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM.
They say half education is dangerous. So, for just start with we and left we half per we project, nothing we self no good. One way how you go continue for support we for let we grow to we highest peak, na for support we in all angle. Well, we don't create another channel where we call Sexy New Looks. This one, we dey do here for woman. We dey show you how to make different African and European plates them, as well as different other things them. Well, if you really sure say you na one fan of we yard, do ya, I want you go now inside your YouTube app, and then you search for sexy new looks. Tap there, and then it will take you to the page. When you reach the page, you press the red subscribe button. When you press am, you come over to the bell and press the one with all. As you do that, it done. That don't really show say you the support we had for let we grow to the highest peak. Thank you for where you don't help we for make we channel them grow.
Don't stop. The program Good Morning Salon they continue, and we come back to Lara Pearce, we are the Auditor General na Audit Service Salon there this morning. We did talk about the 2019 audit reports we don't go in Parliament, and say for that concerns them we'll go for look at later in the program. Where you go through the audit reports where you just go in Parliament, I see we cannot see government expenditure increase by 7%. Compared to 2018, this 2019. Now, there while we start before we go to the ministries, departments, and agencies, them and serve the local councils, them where we see so many money lost they were unable for accounts for. So let me just start overall for the government expenses where we see increase 7% increase there from 5,438 billion inside 2018. It go to 6,410. As Auditor General, you work na Audit Service Salon and una all day. They work for ensure say transparency the pan government's money, especially so the one way they use them. Waiting firstly now your impression, but that expenditure of government we don't increase that much.
Well, if we not get any negative view about that, because at the end of the day, government get for spend money for achieving activities. Then we own role. Now, for make sure say their expenditure then we government undertake, they undertake them under the due process. Now we roll down there, but we need for bringing that information out. For if you also look at the revenue also increase.
Increase, yes.
You know, so it is a balance between the revenue and the expenditure side. But we all role as external auditors then. Now for make sure say the money, the revenue side, it can side correct and complete. The expenditure side, they use them correctly as per the law.
Well, the reason that to make a ask what I think overall about the expenditure will raise to 7%, although the increase of the on revenue generation locally, but we can out to the ministry departments and agencies them also we see when I get a lot of breakdown then at tables them for explain as to waiting been lost inside the year 2019. I just want to let you use this opportunity for the people them where they listen for explain waiting have been some of the explanations them way them being get to una workman them way going at the ministry departments and agencies them for the losses them way we see there, because for example we see losses in respect of cash and stores irregularities identified in the course of our audit amounted to 177.5 billion for ministry departments and agency them under cash losses. For example, now waiting have been the reasons them we get such loss as from the explanation them we wanna been get.
Okay, so that totally we did at the report, and not to just ministry department and agencies. Now ministry department and agencies, public enterprises, local councils. Now the total we will find out based on the work. So now a mixture of procurement matters. Now a mixture of taxes the way they be supposed for pay over to government, when they not pay over to government, and a mixture of NACIDs when they for pay over to government, when they not pay over to government. Now a mixture of payroll matters, for example, people the way they pay, they salary them, we will not able for trace records say they exist, you know. Now issue of money the way they give people for interest for run the institution there, or for example for travel, we then no retire. Make I explain something waiting this clause mean, because I think we need to be clear on waiting that one mean. In the
we like una put in terms and when like una professional terms. For example, under general purpose on financial statements, revenue not banked for una gets over 25 billion day under assessment again of GST revenue again over 22 billion. Waiting, for example, revenue not banked for. Waiting you mean?
Okay, so Mabel go for pay, supposed for pay 100 loans to NI, right? We look receipt, we see receipt for 100 loans. As auditors there, we not just take the receipt as it is. We dey trace am to the bank statement because now the money supposed to go. And when we trace am, we not see am. So that means the receipt today, but somehow we don't know where the money go. So now that's another example of revenue not banked for. Undervaluation of the GST, as you say. GST get the rates we supposed to pay. We do test them for make sure say this amount of this particular transaction, now this kind GST now for attract. We see it attract less now undervaluation that one did. So now some of the explanation we people need for know about.
Now, let me take you to a specific area when it comes to the exportation of timber. According to the Auditor General's report, difference of $5.48 billion. Now, in the difference are supposed to within 4 days at the account, but according to the report, the Ministry of Finance give explanation as an error. Within this error and how common it is across una work them we now the area of cash loss.
The issue of the timber not the part of cash loss. It is not part of cash loss. For the records, the cash loss now 177 billion leons. If you calculate that amount, it's way past. If you convert that to leons, it's way past that amount. So it's not there as part of cash loss. For the records, that issue they come up in the report because, as I explained to you, we do the financial statements audit. It's part of the revenue side, and we check within the law say how the calculation supposed for the based on the law at the time. And we realize that based on the calculation way for the, now this time difference, now we notice so. But we not just to take things verbatim, you get to ask question. And on asking question, the response what we get is that is a mistake. And because we look earlier, asked them on this same timber, and we realize that yes, somehow there was a mistake in that, and it's going to be corrected. But one thing I want make we all understand. Do you think professionally, when you look at things professionally, that issue where they talk about 1 square meter or square meter almost $1,000, it does not make sense. So of course, since it not make sense, we cannot take that as a loss. No, they have given a plausible explanation that this was a mistake. We said, look into it. I say, indeed, because it doesn't make sense. We have reviewed other countries, their own timber things, them, and we realize, yes, this is genuine mistake, which needs to be corrected. However, we also make a recommendation, say, for the good of Sierra Leone, for revenue generation purposes, them, instead of you value a container of timber on block, why don't you look at the situation when by the category of timber them, then get different value them? Because, for example, ebony go get a different value from mango teak. But if all inside the one container and you value the container one, then it's something to think about. So we made that suggestion in a recommendation going forward. We don't know if they go take that, but it's a recommendation which we hope will be looked into.
So why is it the audit service they include past year's report into, for instance, including 2015-18 into 2019 report?
Exactly. I'm glad you asked me that question. As far as we are concerned, with the audit institutions. So if this institution here, especially the state-owned enterprises, them parastatal them, where the financial statement them, not they come on time. Some say now we receive 2018 financial statement for some of them parastatal there. We now want for tell we say we not for audit them at all. No. We work on a continuous process. And if you be say the continuity of which we do, mean to say we get for bringing 10 things a day in up to the current year, that is what we have to do. It is not unique to Sierra Leone. We're not the audit as per with subjective views. With the audit as per international standards of auditing. So we get for bring everything on board as and when then they come on board.
Apart from ministry, departments, and agencies, then one other side people not only too focused on from the public eye, gets to do with them public enterprise and commissions them, and from the reports we on a pool, then save a lot of money they way they not be able to account. So if we take for example, fuel we don't able to account for over 193 billion. We get payroll irregularities, payment without supporting documents, and other one them we also amounts over 59 billion we like lost na side and this way people not only focus to all the year so. For example, that fuel we don't know able for accounts for. Now waiting have been the problem.
Well, all things then at the report, because if we want to go begin individually with the pick, this why we not go down at city. If you entitled to 50 liters fuel, and somebody give 100 liter fuel, it's not correct. Because you're not entitled to that balance 50 liter day. You never explain to we, wait to make you get an additional 50 liter fuel. So you can't account for that one day. Now then can example then if the policy in an institution or the law in an institution say na so you forgo, the moment where you deviate from that one day, we get for recorded and as you not comply and it cause a loss. So now that happen in the fuel situation in most of them. Or for example, the cheat when they forget we're not clear on what it is all about. Or then give people that we're not entitled to the fuel. So now all of them kind of things they will be looking to.
Where the people now audit service can go out. Now other than can be the target people for interview as to getting information we wanna need for the reports.
Okay, so the initial engagement letter, what will you do with the institution? Now with the permanent secretary, because now they are the vote controller them. In the MDs them. In the parastatal them, now with the managing director or director general, whoever it is with in charge. Now they will get the engagement. So now they are the key targets, the key. Because now then they manage the money them. Now then they give now the staff them when are the focal person. And based on how the systems they will get for go talk to whoever they in charge of procurement, who they in charge of accounts, who they are the internal auditor, we get conversation with all them people in there for get an understanding of waiting they go on.
So the reason why I ask now because I want to know if I really think say the vote controller them when the permanent secretary them, for example, they take on our work serious because reading through the reports last night, I feel not say under the Ministry of Transport, for example, motocar them where they not be able for get accounts for outside them motocar them they I see the response of the permanent secretary being be for say he call the person we been there in charge in 2018 and phone they off. So giving them kind of excuse and they for a whole serious issue of this, people not able to forget accounts for things them when they use government money for or government property. When I think say them vote controller really they take the work of audit service serious.
Well, I don't want for generalize the whole situation.
That's not just an example.
I understand. You get a lot where they take and serious, but you get other one then we really not they take audit serious. The only time we people and they take audit serious now where the reports come out and issues them with very significant daily and everybody start for talk about it. Many a time, even forget the meeting with the vote controller and the team. They go begin ask for postponement or another day, or I go calls or I go waiting. And if you take the thing as serious as you can, if you are not there, you know this process has to happen. Put somebody who go deputize you whilst you not did it. You see, and the ultimate responsibility now the vote control and aid in a deity. That's what the law say.
Continue for the week inside the program. Lara Pearce, Auditor General, Audit Service Saloon. The program na Good Morning Saloon, we country from 98.1 FM. We go for the short break. We can continue the program Good Morning Saloon.
Yes, subscribe. You always dey watch we program them, but you not subscribe yet to the channel. All waiting you get for do, press this red subscribe button and then you come over here and press this bell. So the bell option, press this one with all. And done. And no get for cost you anything. When you do this, na sign for show say you dey support we for make we do more. Thank you for we your help we for share this program. Yeah, God bless you.
The program is still listening to a Good Morning Saloon where they come to you from 98.1 FM. We will bring you this edition of the program. Musa Kamara na minim.
And Mabel Kaba.
We still get with studio guest inside the program, Lara Pearce. They talk about the 2019 audit report. We then pull this BNT when they don't say rolling a parliament. Looking at the 2019 report, one issue we come na the NaCoBAR audits we una do na NaCoBAR, and according to reports, show things them we happen na NaCoBAR, like missing laptops, generators, and vehicles. Take me through some of the findings then NaCoBAR from the 2019 audit reports.
Okay, I think that one didn't catch the public eye. Now let me say fine for it, because the areas them not to just then shouldn't they include human resource issues them, wherein we situation and they we advice been don't be given, for example, for say you know for pay people the allowance we unreasonable. However, we noticed there were situations where people can get almost 400% allowance more than the normal salary. Then at the report, we get a situation wherein before you even start for do the business, you forget a strategic direction. We notice it take almost over 100 days before you even get a draft strategic document when they use. We compare that with other countries, they will see use much less days. Meanwhile, people have been paid monies, billions of loans for work we take so long for be done. We get situation wherein a lot of procurement was being done using third-party agency. We highly inflate the cost them under an emergency where you expect, say, instead of I want buy to you, but instead of I go to you direct, I make maybe I'll go buy to you first, then maybe I can charge me times 2 the price. So all of them kind of things then they happen. If we get situation where we're able to verify some of the assets them, like that generator. That was very interesting in this particular one day. The issue of the laptops them, where we get evidence for sure say we asked for this amount of laptops, this specification of laptops. It was signed for to be received, but when we go check, we not see that their laptop in the at all. We get this generator, which was a very interesting one again. We somebody give for help the effect. Until we say the generator they under, we go look there, we not see them at all. We get situation wherein you pay for internet for this amount of data away for the get, but you get almost half of that, and you still pay for the huge amount of data where you're supposed for the get. So these are things that we happen. We get, of course, the tax situation where they either they know we told the tax them, or even the contracts that we then sign or get provision and therefore we told the tax them. So these were serious situations that happened.
Looking at NaCoBAR, one thing somebody go say now that most of the thing them we NaCoBAR call for now through institutions them and then get fiduciary agents them within the work with. How inclusive wanna include them in these findings now NaCoBAR?
So the fiduciary agency then start, I think, June or so, end of June. If you look at the period of the audit, it was all before the fiduciary agents then begin for do thorough job na the NaCoBAR.
All right, continue for the between at the studio Lara Pearce. The program Good Morning Salon they continue. We go over to Studio 2 for get short music break and continue for look at more issues inside the program Good Morning Salon.
Papa, you been tell we say that we trust the process, but man, let's call out the progress of the process. Wearing suit and tie, man dirty character. Thief man they all a thief, now the system matter. I, whoa, 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 yeah. Papa, you been tell we say make we trust the process, but man, let's call out the progress of the process. Wearing suit and tie, man dirty character. Thief man they all a thief, now the system matter. I, Rastaman, me know Eric Okembu, me represent green, white and blue. That's what me have to do. Then meet the water dirty, then awake make it settle, and then jump inside, then the dirty and more. Thief man they all a thief, now the system batter salon they go bien. Who that now we go believe, oh, wrong side life, we dey live so. I say na the capside life we dey live, oh. I say na the wrong side life we dey live so, eh. It's just a capside life we dey live now, yeah. Oh now, whoa 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 whoa, yeah. Papa, you been tell we say, make we trust the process, but man, the scholar the progress of the process. We are in suit and tie, fantastic character. Thief man, they all a thief, now the system batter. I, Rastaman, me know Eric Okembu, me represent green, white and blue. That's what me have to do. When I meet the water dirty, you know, make it settle, and then you jump inside, you dirty and more. Thief man, they all a thief, now the system batter salon, they go be here. Who that now we go believe, oh, wrong side life we dey live. Sorry say na sana say na sorry, yeah. Wrong side life we dey live so. Why, oh now, wrong side life we dey live so. I say na the capside life we dey live, no.
The program is still listening to a Good Morning Saloon. We come to you from 98.1 FM. We still get Lara Pearce inside the studio. They talk about the 2019 audit report. Excuse me. And we've been the talk on NaCoBAR before we go for them break. Earlier you mentioned about buying from third party and how costly it is. We see NaCoBAR engaged in the procurement, or the body that we responsible engage in procurement for NaCoBAR. We get for do with motorbike, SUVs. We, of course, this issue being out plenty debate. Which area wanna find out say this third party buying actually?
Well, as I say, all things in the report. Now make it fine for it. The SUV buying, the motorbike buying, they all get third party. And we'll take for example the motorbike then. I think the main supplier this on Tongue, the third party go buy and from there. Nothing now wrong for that kind of situation there. However, if we look at an emergency situation, when that's what we look for, why make you not go direct to the one where the supply the thing and get them at in your price? Rather, you use a third party. We not only inflate the price of the things then, and not even get them as quickly as you expect them for it. And really, what do you look at value for money as auditors them? We need for bring that to the attention of the taxpayers them, and all the other one they will support, give money for support effect. So now that's not the issue around that.
All right, well, continue for the between the story. Let we go now na NaCoBAR. Kusai, senior advisor na NaCoBAR, Dr. Julius Spencer, say NaCoBAR ready for declare the laptop, computer, motor car, and other thing them to the Anti-Corruption Commission, where the audit report shows say been lost. He talked this inside one meeting with NaCoBAR hold with journalists and civil society organization them for know how far they now pan the fight against COVID-19 at the country, and for talk about the audit reports where they point finger at NaCoBAR them but alleged corruption. Well, for more on this, Musa Kamarago reports.
Waiting at some pan the activity them where NaCoBAR spend the over 300 billion loans where they don't receive from government consolidated fund for fight against COVID-19.
I must say what we are utilizing resources on, behavioral management, which is to reach out and explain to the public on the codes and ethics on how you change the behavior in difficult circumstances like this to respond to it to protect your own life. That we've been able to deploy 31.5 billion euros since the response started under the management of NaCoBAr. On case management, we've been able to deploy 56.4 billion euros.
As Sheku Bangura say, NaCoBAr believe in transparency and accountability in all things wey dem dey do, but the audit report wey comot this BNTM show say 47 laptop, 9 motorcar and other thing dem missing na NaCoBAr. Wey this allegation na one way the Anti-Corruption Commission dey investigate now. Usai the advisor na NaCoBAr, Dr. Julius Spencer, confirm say some pandi workman dem na NaCoBAr been dey na the Anti-Corruption Commission for answer to questions them for SECA wetin they allege say missing na NaCoBAr, but say they be don left them workmania, but believe say the investigation where the Anti-Corruption Commission don't open against the NaCoBAr, they unbug the work of NaCoBAr for handle the corona.
The laptops are being collected from staff and they are going to be presented to the Anti-Corruption Commission. Even vehicles, I think, are being withdrawn. And you can probably imagine the impact that that will have on the response when you withdraw vehicles from staff that are using them so that they can go present them to Anti-Corruption Commission. So the Anti-Corruption Commission will probably come out with a statement on some of those issues based on what they will find out when they investigate. I leave that to them. But all I would say here is that this audit report has demoralized some of us.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
You know, I will stop there. I'll just say, read these comments and you will understand.
Yeah.
47 laptops missing, 9 vehicles missing, generator missing.
It's okay. That's okay. Thank you.
That's all I would say. Any more questions or comments?
As the investigation against NaCoBAr continue for SECA waiting and say missing, the head of communication na NaCoBAr, Solomon Jamiru, say they go continue for do them work for prevent the spread of COVID-19, especially during this festive season. For the Society for Radio Democracy, Musa Kamara.
All right, the program Good Morning Salon, they continue, and from that report from NaCoBAr, we'll come back to Lara Pearce, Auditor General na Audit Service Salon. You don't listen to that report, we see people already don't begin to respond to the concerns them where they inside the reports where your office full. Firstly, let we start for now. Where you say vehicle and laptop they missing a NaCoBAr. Waiting exactly the reports mean by that.
Okay, if Mabel sign for 2 book them, we pay for the 2 book them. We go look for them 2 book them, they will not see them. What's happening to the 2 book them? They exist or they not exist. Now that's not missing. If the motorcar them in question, we pay for them. We go, we look for them, we not see them. It's missing. But one thing I need for make we all remember, they work there, not so we not do inside 2 days. We did give the institution them beaucoup time for make them give you answer. In fact, the law right now, the law just say 15 days. But in some of them situations, I would even give them more time for me to answer. And when they don't answer, then they send, we go verify the answer them. And in this particular case here, we spent over 1 month to verify.
Why so long?
Because during the verification, they send cartoon, big cartoon full of more documents where they not been on GUI during the time of the audit. And this is not a special audit, not so the normal annual audit, so you expect the document for don't in place in any case because now the previous year with the audit. So institutions are given sufficient time to give feedback on how they have used public funds. So if it is taking them so long, that means to say even the process where they're supposed to follow, where if I go buy this thing here, they forgive me these documents, I forget record of them, in audit. And as auditors them, now we responsibility for give an independent view on the whole system and bring it to the attention of we the taxpayers them. So corrective action could be taken.
Now, you get from Dr. Julius Spencer Day, say NaCoBAR ready now for take all the laptop computers, the motorcar, and all waiting, then say missing a NaCoBAR go anobaram to the Anti-Corruption Commission for investigation. At this moment, somebody go like for us, could have been the cooperation of NaCoBAR with the audit service alone, in as much as that NaCoBAR say they're available, then the audit report say they're missing.
Okay, so I go want to throw the question back to you and see whoever they say that, may they ask themselves, which may they no one cooperate with the Auditor General in office. Because it clearly say there is some kind of disrespect for the office. Because if we go under the law, we own mandate, it not just come from any act, it come from the Constitution. Where na the highest law na the land. Where apart from my colleague in other continent, they highly respect the office. Now the same work we all do. It should say we get a serious apathy for accountability. Now so me go say. Otherwise, where we go there, una go make it in available for we. And una not go wait till the institution where they get tick. Because ACC get tick for go court and this and that, for beat you. Now they want to need the credit. So it should say you don't even understand what you need about.
Lack of cooperation are the case with NaCoBAR.
Mr.
Lamina.
Mr. Lamina. I tell you, say, if you go do the verification, then send we one cartoon document where we did not give you the tell to do the work.
So now if you say that be intimidation, say then go feel so and not go through the whole cartoon.
Auditors are not intimidated. That is just that's the name of the game.
Let me move from NaCoBAR. I want to take you to the Ministry of Finance, because overall any money where they go to any ministry, department or agency, they come from the Ministry of Finance, because through them government say disburse money to different agencies. The Ministry of Finance, for example, then serve they inside this particular report we come out. We see side and way on the talk of, for example, on top of allowance over 3 billion loans, then get increase on salaries of certain staff they more than able to explain for. Then get 50 staff there again when I notice say then at the ministry within the pay on unable to see appointments letter, other thing them for justify them payments and other amounts of money them from the Ministry of Finance. Now waiting a be the bottleneck na the Ministry of Finance. We like na then the number one ministry with the disburse. Then self in-house get the issues them with so much money not able to be accounted for the.
I think to say really the best people have asked that question in the Ministry of Finance.
Now waiting then tell una be the ask.
The answer in the book.
I will let you tell listeners.
You want me to go through this report, find that page there and read that?
Because the reason why I ask, for example, in 50 staff them, they na the ministry, when they pay over 2 billion loans total off. On our talk say, then they pay them people here without evidence of appointment letters and transfer letters for confirm them as eligible staff them. Now
well,
that's
the
HR
policy, general HR policy, anybody when any institution, there's certain documentation way for sure say you are employed in this institution. If then documents are not there, we not see them. What does that mean? It means to say something went wrong along the line. If you the people the allowances that were not recorded in the sense that we not get the approval, the authority waiting at the basis for this allowance, we not see them, we get for comments on that one day. Because now public funds, we need for nobody know the say una no get allowance system. What we are saying, the process of doing it is not clear. So you need to explain to we waiting need to go on.
No. Then pull back again 1.6 billion loans from the consolidated fund accounts na Bank of Salon, where according to waiting the audit report say na been forbearing business for senior government workman them.
That's not a new thing. In fact, a policy is now being done when based on previous similar situation they will be not happy. We don't bring to the attention in the previous audit reports them. We make a policy now is being documented for making that happen. The thing is, before you spend 1 cent of taxpayer money public funds. We need for members, say the money there, now public funds, now taxpayer money. Before you spend 1 cent for them, you need to get a policy, you need to get an approval, you need to get a reason for spending.
So people been just on the spend and not
In
go
their
back
situation, there is no policy at the time the money was being spent that yes, labor income now 200 million now forgive, now 50 million now forgive, in a day.
Looking at over 177 billion loans loss as cash losses in 2019. If you look back at other years, the money drop or we still they continue as a country they lost money where people where they put in a trusted position them not able for accounts for?
Well, this year a little higher than last year, but again, if you look at the exchange rate, if you do based on the exchange rate that time and now, you go see say the difference not that much if you convert them dollar wise. But until we get to the point wherein there is consequences for action, really, we will continue for sitting in there.
But not don't they make recommendation?
Yes.
Action not don't be taken
Yes.
at all.
But we get for continue for the do we work because now that's now we work. For go out every year, we see our government spend the money where the taxpayer them entrust to them for spend and report back to the taxpayer then through parliament for say now so they spend the money or not so they spending money for the good of we all na salon.
Now, when you look at the audit reports, what are the relationship between UNA and the public in terms of public education? Because most times when they report here, they come on, it's all like in a competition now, UNA don't thief passing companies, and they say this and don't thief pass we, this and been thief pass we. How do they engage the public for depoliticize the audit reports?
So, actually, this last couple of years here, now I see a really worsening in that particular area there. And it clear say people are not listening and people are not read. Because year in, year out, we get to information on staff them, where they go on the air, we get engagement with the civil society them, where they explain how we do we work. But if at the time where they say the people are not interested, they're not listening, that make them go to ask some of them kind of question there. So what are the appeal to all my way they listen? Whenever they hear about audit service they on the air or they get a program, show interest. That in there you go understand what we do, what we do all about. We are neutral and we work. We are very objective. There is no way you can be an external auditor without being objective. And that makes so we work not so based on what we think, but within the almost 100 auditing standards, thousands of auditing standards of supreme audit institutions, that guidance, now we use for do we work.
We want quickly can talk about recommendations we they continue for making one step going to make inside the 2019 reports. But quickly before we jump to that, the BO administration where President BO in his speech, one thing where they indicate always where they talk na parliament, now that in government really want for block leakages them where he believes say been in a past administration, outside government money them be the go. People not be done their accounts for them. In 2019, we don't see over 177 billion don't go down the drain. People never account for them yet. This blocking leakages and this kind of money where we see loss for 2019 alone, we really think say leakage you don't block from accountability parts where you look at on a responsibility under accountability and transparency where people for the use government money.
Well, what I go say. First of all, me very supportive of the president in the issue of blocking leakages because until we get to that point, we're able for blocks of the leakage there. Certain things that we need for do with the little money where we get, we're not able for do them. At the same time, the people that where they man the MDA them, they need for do things properly. Otherwise, the leakage they go continue for do. You see. Not so for now the people the way they manage the system now they're the problem they. Now then get for do the correct thing for support waiting HE want for happening for salon.
So waiting difference from the other recommendation them we wanna they prefer this time around for ensure then leakage and they block and search money them not just they go now 1 or 2 man party or group pockets.
The recommendation then because if not the same issue then a similar recommendation they would the key. However, me own take on all of this, which make year in, year out, we get them thing there. Now because accountability, the one way for all accountable, then need for make sure say people then do right. That make sure gladly where the ACC, the take we report now, look and really the old people are accountable. So that is a step in the right direction for make sure say at least for a start somebody they ready make sure say una get for payback if una get for payback money them wait to make una know the key document to the auditor where then go so that some of them they know go the day na the report. Something has to be done about it.
So apart from the ACC, the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament, don't they support on our work over the years as to ensuring the recommendations them where they inside the audit report because they force on a report can go. Or don't they see any action they come from the committee in a Parliament?
Well, actually, I'm not there in the place for talk anything about the Parliament. Where the year done, we give a report to Parliament. Where PAC get hearings, we are invited there. We give technical support. Now that way, we don't do it. So over the years,
looking at the trends, you think say in the coming years, improvements go day when it comes to the area of finance compliance and performance in the auditing?
I always say, if the willpower day for change, it will happen. There is nothing that's impossible.
Who say you expect the willpower for come up from?
The willpower for come up from the individuals them, where they manage the institutions them as a start, and secondly, the accountability institutions there, where they make sure say they for do the right thing. You know, even if you mean to say action plans for be drawn up, how will they manage the institution? If you mean to say corrective action, like for example, repayment of monies that we never account for, those kind of things will make sure, send a message that this is not accepted and should not continue.
All right, continue for the week. Quickly, let me just take a break and go carry up the program with you.
They say half education is dangerous. So, for just start with we and left we half per we project, nothing we self no good. One way how you go continue for support we, for let we grow to we highest peak, now for support we in all angle. Well, we don't create another channel where we call Sexy New Looks. This one, we they do here for woman, we they show you how to make different African and European plates them, as well as different other things them. Well, if you really sure say you not one fan of we yard, do ya? I want you go now inside your YouTube app, and then you search for Sexy New Looks. Tap there, and then it will take you to the page. When you reach the page, you press the red subscribe button. When you press them, you come over to the bell and press the one with all. As you do that, it done. That don't really show say you the support we had for let we grow to the highest peak. Thank you for what you do help we for make we channel them grow.
Don't stop. All right, the program Good Morning Salon, they continue, and we still get Lara Pearce at the studio from Audit Service Salon and at the Auditor General, looking at all waiting on the happen at the country, and you know the person with it on top of the Audit Service Salon for ensuring a full report, but how the country economy they go for the year, how government they generate revenue and stuff, how the expenditure look like. You don't they as we been start earlier, you don't in that particular position there for a very long time, and looking at all the different reports and maybe don't they come out, changes don't they, or you disappointed, say people in a trusted position still, we're not able to manage the country money as expected.
Okay, so the issue of disappointed, me now one person way, I don't bring personality into my job. So not to my own business for be disappointed or happy or or sad. You know, professionally, there are areas that there have been improvements. However, professionally, there are areas that are perennial areas, especially that procurement state. Because now they boku money to go inside. There are areas where people and they decide say, today I just to do what I have to do. Now I go employ somebody, I not get documents, I pay from the payroll and nobody enough ask me no question. You know, there are areas wherein we get our money, you know the go side supposed to go. We know they get evidence for say it go side supposed to go. So until they want the way they blunder, because now blunder, action is being taken against them, we go continue like this. It not get nothing for do with the audit methodology, because as I say, we use international standards of supreme audit institutions, not so subjective, so until we use.
This action where they ask for be taken, year in, year out, much change is not the same issues of procurement, so people not to go through rightly, people not to get documents for support decisions and when they take. Waiting at this action we need for be taken for let we see changes and the way how people they use the country money.
Probably payback. Would have found one thing, payback the money them, or I'm not going to advise any other thing. I think the individual they really for payback money them. Because if not for the training, if not for the understanding, I believe say the one day with the man the MDA, they really don't get enough training and understanding of waiting they're supposed for the do.
So let's go what to the left now as a takeaway for listeners them, especially people themselves. We cannot say people waiting at some of them position here go they listen you as the Auditor General, waiting you the left to them as advice moving forward, because we know say this already in a parliament, so they wait for your waiting parliament will get for see and serve the Anti-Corruption Commission self see, then serve they do their own investigations them. While we wait for them one and they waiting at the word of advice we they left with some people here.
So my own word of advice is that first of all, when we go in for do the work, make them cooperate with the organization. When we make recommendation them, make them try for implement the recommendation then we go see a great improvement in PFM, public financial management, na salon. Public sector auditing, not unique. Na so they happen all side. However, where action is being taken, then we see positive changes in na country, the economy. Until we get to that point, we go to struggle as a country.
So quick clarification before we go. Somebody they say this is not 2019 report, but you get 2020 NaCoBAR report inside the quick one.
Yes. First of all, again, if people and they listen, so we can go na radio, you go know say we get what we call special audit them, or we get annual audit. The NaCoBAR na a special audit. It's different, it's not an annual audit. Okay. So it happened between a period of time when now we talk about.
Okay, thank you very much, Lara Taylor Pearce. Well, now this edition of the program Good Morning Salon go left you for today. Plenty thank you to our studio guest, Lara Taylor Pearce, Auditor General, Audit Service Salon, and Seth, so we executive producer Michael Sambola and Alex Lawrence Koma, we produce the program. And plenty thank you to DJ Ahmad for technical support, Moses Kavura and team. We make Puna Siwi live na Facebook and the entire production team. So till then, Musa Kamara they say bye bye.
And Mabel Kabadi say get yourself a wonderful day. Goodbye.